is after their surgery, they'll text you a picture. I'm really grateful vets have moved to do this, and I think that really helped with the shock. So we saw her face shaved and we saw her eyes removed of seeing her, because she had such beautiful brown eyes and they're so expressionate, and we knew how hard this was going to be on us. So Jubilee has an autoimmune disease called uveodermatological syndrome. So the first day we met Jubilee, she did just run up to us. She was licking us. What we really wanted for a dog is we were looking for qualities in a dog that was really affectionate, really cuddly, because Ollie is really selective in his affection. And, you know, that means when he is affectionate, it just means so much more because he's really choosing it. We noticed she was really light sensitive and wasn't really reacting. Like if we threw a toy, she would get confused. So we took her to the vet. We did a bunch of tests, and she had noticed that her lips and gums were discolored. They weren't black, they were going pink. And that kind of set something off in her brain of, okay, let's test for uveodermatological syndrome. So they were able to take a biopsy, send it off, and then confirm it. I remember the day we went and we heard about this diagnosis. It was very, very hard. My husband and I both cried for hours afterwards. And the optometrist explained it's attacking the melanin in her skin and in her eyes. And it'll go through this progression of slight discoloring on her nose, gums, parts of the skin we can see. It will also cause damage to her eyes, including developing glaucoma, which there is no cure in dogs for glaucoma. The first thing she said was, it's uveodermatological syndrome. It's an autoimmune disease. It's not lethal. And so I just kept repeating that to myself of, okay, it's not lethal. It's not lethal. She's going to lose her eyes eventually, but it's not lethal. She can still live a full life. Very depressed is the best way I can describe it. Is she didn't really want to go places. When she went to work with me, she would lay in my office. When someone came in, she would still go up and love on them. But you could tell she was very, very much in pain. At that point, my husband and I had decided it was time to remove her eyes so we can take her off the steroids. After the eyes were removed, it's not a painful disease. I'm really grateful vets have moved to do this. When a dog, or they did this when Sushi got neutered too, is after their surgery, they'll text you a picture. And so we saw her face shaved and we saw her eyes removed. And I think that really helped with the shock of seeing her, because she had such beautiful brown eyes and they're so expressionate, and we knew how hard this was going to be on us. And then there's the initial shock of seeing something some way for so long and it's changed. So we picked her up the next day and I was just so grateful to see her. But as soon as we got home, she was settled, she was resting. There was definitely a grieving period of what we had just experienced. One fear we had is with her eyes removed that she would lose her personality, because she's a very spunky girl. She loves people, she loves attention. But when I brought her into work, she just lit up again, that she was able to leave the house. And there were some kids that I was there for 5 years. She developed really deep bonds with them. And to see them just come up and love on her as she is was so heartwarming for me. And for her to be able to go back to her old friends, still receive all the love and attention was amazing. My husband first got Ollie about 6 months before we met, and Ollie was an Aussie, and as soon as I met him, I fell in love. We were living with a bunch of roommates, and we decided that it was time to kind of move out on our own. Ollie had a best friend at the house we lived in, and we wanted to make sure that Ollie had a new friend when we moved out and a dog to keep him company. But we ended up getting Jubilee as a companion dog. I remember the day we went to go meet her, I handed my husband the money and I said, you have to make the decision because I'm going to see this dog, and just give the money and take the dog. Like, that's what's going to happen. So my husband fell in love with her and we took her home. So Sushi came in February around Valentine's Day. We live in Colorado and we have pretty bitter winters, and this little orange tabby was literally just sitting in our driveway, and so I carefully pull in seeing him and he just starts meowing at me. And so I go to open the garage door and he's rubbing up against me. So we brought him in. We started introducing the dog slowly. For a while, my husband had an orange tabby when he had Ollie. And so Ollie had kind of already interacted with this cat. And I'm pretty sure he thinks it's the same cat. And Jubilee has always been obsessed with cats. Jubilee has really, really bonded with Sushi. They cuddle together every night. Kind of how he came into our life. They have taught me so much, and especially Jubilee. She is one of my heart dogs.
When we paddle out into the lineup, people smile. There's no doubt, and we'll take off on a wave and I hear people going, Rosie, go, Rosie. It's pretty cool. There's actually quite a few people who surf with